Wagwan listeners, viewers, people of the world, you're listening to Foolcast, the Immigrant Fools podcast. If you're listening to this on Spotify, we want to remind you that this is available on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify. You can find us on all podcasting platforms. In today's episode, we will be speaking about the marshmallow test experiment, an experiment on studying delayed gratification.
Educate us, homie.
So essentially, it's a classic psychological experiment that was done in the 1970s that I'm probably sure 50% of you listening have heard of. A psychologist named Walter Mischel placed a marshmallow or pretzel in front of children and offered them a choice. They could either enjoy the treat now or wait for a brief period of time in order to get two snacks. When the experimenter left the room, many kids immediately ate the treat, and some of the kids were able to put off the urge to enjoy the treat and wait for the reward of getting two later on.
Those are future presidents right there.
Exactly. What Mitchell discovered was that kids who were able to delay gratification had a number of advantages later on in life over the kids who could simply not wait. The children
Damn.
The children who had waited for the treat simply performed better academically years later than kids that ate the treat right away. Those who delayed their gratification also displayed fewer behavioral problems and later had much higher SAT scores.
So you mean to tell me this old man predicted there was finna be crackheads in that same ass room? Holy shit.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's not entirely I don't like that they base that like really solely off academic success, because you can find success in many other areas of life. It's not strictly academia, but I see the point there. Kids that waited, kids that delayed their gratification in order to get two treats, I see the correlation between like that delayed gratification and having a higher what is it called, IQ.
But I
Makes
do
sense.
understand what you mean, but like, just because that test was conducted, that doesn't mean those kids wouldn't end up being successful. The ones that, took the urge immediately. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, if that was done today, yes, your point would have gone across okay. But that was back in the 1970s when your job opportunities were limited by, your education standards. Being an entrepreneur back in the day was real as difficult. It was real as tough. And
Yeah.
unless you knew people who could help you out or you were actually educated as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, 100% agree, dude.
Mm.
The world has changed. The landscape has changed a lot. Dow,
Yeah. No, because
thoughts?
well, I I do like you're saying I do see the correlation, but there is just so much more factors. But I guess like the bottom line is that just if you don't if you people who aren't willing to work at things, and if it gets too hard and they're like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this anymore, and then they just kind of quit it, they're never gonna achieve what they want to, or they're not gonna
Yeah.
reach the level of
They
like,
won't achieve a potential that
yeah,
is possible.
yeah, because it's just they're just saying, oh, if it's hard, it's whatever, I'm just gonna switch. They're just gonna keep them switching, or they get into like, and like they're just gonna be like, oh, because like thing is like, right, because like Pepe was saying too, it's kind of different today, because if you look at it, right, imagine like a scenario where if it's like a little kid who wants to play a lot of games, right, and not work and not do like his homework or something, at the same time he should do his homework because it teaches a lot about responsibilities, and deadlines and everything. But at the
Yeah.
same time, if he really likes games and he really gets good at it, he can become an e-gamer too. So it's like,
100%.
yeah, so it's like very, you don't know what there's just people make jobs out of anything today.
Yep. Yeah, back to the experiment itself. And like the delaying and waiting to receive a second treat. Like, why is it so hard for people, and as the study used children people, why is it so hard to wait?
I would say is more mainly, in my opinion, I would say most likely it's nature versus nurture. Basically, either we go with the all natural route and say it's one, some of those kids, they have a natural sweet tooth, they really enjoy sweet things. Some of those other kids, they, they can wait and wait it out, and then they can eat more or multiple sweet things, so they can indulge in their fucking pleasure. And also part of nature is, ADHD motherfuckers, with quick ass thoughts are like, yo, I can't wait anymore, I just want to enjoy this fucking treat right now, yum yum yum. Or nurture, where their folks raise them in a way or in a manner that, makes them feel a bit more responsible for their age, like, yo, and even made them think smartly. Yo, think about it, little kid, if you wait a couple few more minutes, I can give you more of this sugar. Just think about it, just wait for it a bit more. You know what I'm saying? You get my point across?
Yep, 100%. Yeah.
What so what you're saying is just that it depends on how they were raised and how, I guess, if they have any mental, I guess, not
Yeah,
not
I would lean more to their environment and whom raised them, nurture rather than nature. That's my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, except delaying the gratification isn't so like clean cut in the real world, cuz like
Patience? Really?
the promise of getting a reward for waiting or not doing something or like holding back isn't always a guarantee that you'll receive a reward for doing that. Like if
well,
for example, if you give up like sugar or like a brownie or chocolate, you still might not lose weight. And if you skip on like a social event to study, you might do poorly on an exam still. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think a better like comparison would be like, in the future, if once you grow up, you aren't if you promise me the same thing where it's like, hey, if I give you, you could have this marshmallow right now, but if you just wait a little bit longer, I'll give you another marshmallow, right? Instead of being like that, when we get to being an adult, it's more of, there's this marshmallow right now, if you wait a little bit longer, I might give you another marshmallow. I might. And that's the thing too, because it's just like, what I think the value, I guess the scale of people being successful, it's kind of that weighs in, like in knowing if they are willing to wait for delayed gratification is like a small factor in their work ethic or like their drive to even do something too.
yeah,
But it definitely
100%. There's
plays
a
a part.
correlation.
Yeah, because it kind of sets like what is it? It sets the ground for them, right? The structure for them to be like, hey, I know
Yeah.
that if I actually wait, or if I'm willing to like work at something, maybe
Hmm.
something better might happen.
Yeah. Back to like the nature versus nurture, what Pepe brought up. Do y'all think like that these kids' ability to wait for a second treat was naturally within them, or their parents instilled it within them?
I said my piece on that. I said my piece.
You believe that it was by the parent, like by parents. It's outside force. It's not internally the kids.
Yeah. If it was not their parents, it was the environment in which they're raised upon. Rather, say for
So
example, a kid, huh?
it everything like in regards to your like work ethic or like, but not everything obviously, but a majority of the makeup of how you run
Yeah.
internally is based on your environment that you grew up in, right?
Exactly. Take for example a kid from the hood and a spoiled ass kid from a rich end of the suburbs, bro.
The
Who would you
burbs.
believe would have the more the built-in not the built-in, like the built-up work ethic from the way they were raised? The kid from the hood, basically, because he's been
Yeah.
through he's seen the poverty, he's seen the
Yeah.
hustle mentality from gangster niggas, from other thug niggas, from other scam niggas, from other niggas trying to just make it out through any means, legal or illegal. So he that by being within that structural environment, they would feel empowered to get that money and get themselves out that ugly poor situation. You feel me?
But obviously, that's just one side of that too, though. There's
Hmm.
also the side of, if they're poor, they might just like, oh shit, it's a marshmallow. I don't really like eat much. Like fuck. There's
Mhm.
definitely two
Exactly.
sides because well, I think there's obviously two sides to everything. You know, even with like rich people, more rich people,
Mm.
more well off. It's just that people, I think more well off individuals, um, unless they're spoiled as fuck, they understand. There's more of them that understand delayed gratification rather than for more people impoverished people. They don't
Mm.
really understand it a lot, not
Mhm. Yeah.
much. And that's with a lot, you know, that's with a lot in our society as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So essentially, like a really critical factor in this experiment specifically, um, I feel like is the trusting you will get that second treat. So like you may eat the marshmallow or pretzel, whatever it was. You may do it because you don't trust that you actually will have like you'll get the second one. Like, do you think that trust is always a critical factor in delayed gratification?
Yes, but where's the trust mainly and mainly inputted into? Is it trust in the person that told you they'll give you a marshmallow, or is it trust in yourself that you should hold yourself back? Trust in
Trust
yourself.
trusting that you will be given it by the experimenter, whoever is running it.
Yeah, I would say trust is it's a big factor in it, in my opinion. Yes. Dow.
Are you talking about just the experiment itself or like relating it to life?
Like more like life. Do you wait? Would you wait for something if you aren't 100% positive it's actually going to occur?
Well, I
Like
think
will
that's
you
another factor that we were talking about, you know, how about like it's not guaranteed, you know, once you get into like adulthood, you know, it's not that hypothetical marshmallow that you will get, it's not guaranteed. So I think that's a factor that determines if you are going to be successful because I think that's one of the biggest traits within entrepreneurs too is that they're willing to take a risk. You know, that's a huge factor. That because I think the people who are willing to take more risks are going to be the one that will be the most successful. And you know, there will be some that aren't going to be successful that they failed, but at the same time, you know, they still at least try because it only takes one time for you to actually be successful.
yeah. Do you think it's more luck based or more
Every
work
Well, here's
ethic
the thing,
based?
right? You can't just say is it just more luck based because like we said there's just so many more factors because it depends on like what information like
Experience.
information, yeah, and experience. Well, that kind of goes with information too because it's like if like I'm talking about just like overall, right? If you grew up, right, if you grew up in a more wealthy area, you're going to have more information accessible to you. Your parents are probably going to have more connections
Yeah,
to
more
other,
connections, yeah.
yeah, meaning you are going to have more connections as well. So it's like that's why I said that, you know, it's like the poorer you are, the less accessible things you have available.
Opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities available to you. Because I mean that's just how it is. That's why poverty is such a hard cycle to break.
Yeah, 100%. Um so when they ran this experiment a second time, the majority of the kids who received the promised treat in the first experiment were once again able to wait in order to receive like a second.
But they knew
Um,
already. That's the thing, they knew already. Because the first time is really how they are. That's how I look at it, right? The first time is how their personalities truly
yep.
are. But once they learn from it, you know, it's kind of like, oh shit, I might get something else, and like, hey, let's actually wait. And those are, I guess, the people who aren't naturally entrepreneurs, but are still willing to put in the work too. And maybe there's those kids too that are like, you know, I might as well just take it now, you know. Because like, what if I just want to like, even though they learned before, those are just kids, I guess, that might not make it. They're just willing. They're just taking whatever.
Mm, mm.
Little off topic, but do you think your success? Do you think how do I word this? Do you think that you make your own success, or is luck a big like? Do you make your own luck? Is what I'm saying.
Your circumstances hold the biggest value in how successful you would be. That's what I would say.
Do you
Yeah.
think? Do you think that any part of circumstance, or do you think
It's
there's
luck.
any part of that that's mindset oriented, or
Oh,
it's
of course.
completely due to your environment?
Yeah. Well, it's
Can you? How much can you overcome your environmental and natural circumstance by your mindset?
It
How
is,
much can you?
yes, it's a very common thing for people to, put in mentally push through all the anguish of, their circumstances,
but
which nah,
one.
you go ahead, Dow. You go ahead, bro.
But there's a difference though, right? Because people keep saying mindset, mindset. Yes, you need to change your mindset, but at the same time, because it starts off with your mindset. But
Everything
then
starts with your mindset.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is that people kind of get stuck at the mindset and like expect things to just happen, You have to change your mindset and actually change. And with your mindset changing, you need to change your actions as well. So
You have
once you
to adapt.
yeah. So once you change your mindset and then your actions, then that's kind of where like the shit you start doing starts like I guess opening up opportunities for you. You know?
Mm.
So it's not just like, oh, I gotta change my like I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be rich, I'm gonna be rich, and then like I'm just rich. It's just
But yeah, I know. But like you're changing your mindset. If you're really changing your mindset, you're doing that by changing your actions. Because I think that's it. I think it's actually the same thing, kind of almost.
I
You're
don't think
you're
so.
differentiating that, but I think it's more
I
similar
don't
than
I don't
different.
think so because it's like saying and doing. I can
Bro,
say a lot of shit, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna do it.
but saying it is not a mindset.
Saying is saying
Stating you'll do it or you'll be successful or you'll be rich
I think when
is
I
not a mindset in itself, because a mindset is more how you think and move. How you think and moving is action.
I think it's just how you think. My
Hmm.
definition of mindset is just how you think because actions for me is separate.
Yeah, but no.
Well,
I'm
Elijah,
just
think
gonna
of it this way. Think of it this way. If you commit to this to an action where you believe it'll get you further, but you don't have the mindset to, think further ahead of that action, you're just wasting your time and your energy. And then it makes you, completely crumble down from that mindset. It makes you go lower. Do you feel what I'm saying?
bro, not really.
Not really?
It
Fuck,
Here's
I
don't
like
lost
really
my
okay,
it don't
point.
really
here's the
click.
thing, right? It's like when we're in high school, we wanted to start this podcast, right? Our mindset was in the right place of, hey, let's do this shit. I mean, I guess our mindset wasn't fully developed because
That's a good example.
yeah, but we
Mindset
didn't
versus
do
action.
shit. We didn't do shit until like a year later. So that I guess that's like, yeah, it's for me that's why I say I think it's different because
Yeah.
it's the difference between people who talk a lot of shit and people who actually do shit because actions do speak a lot louder than words.
Yes, sir, they do.
Because what like Gary Vee says, I can tell you all my fucking ideas, and you can make millions off them, but then who out of all these fucking people is actually gonna go out and execute them?
Execute. Yeah.
Execution.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah. Can you execute? Exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
boys. If you got a couple few more comments to make, or Elijah, if you
Well,
could come.
that is roughly all I've got from the experiment itself.
Dow, any last
Um,
final words before we wrap this whole out?
I've got one last question. Like, what do you guys think can help you increase your ability to wait for success?
Well,
What are factors that can help you wait longer for something good?
being able to learn, because those kids, the second time they did the experiment, they learned. They were like, so being able to learn from your own mistakes, or ideally learning from other people's mistakes. But if you have to learn from your own mistakes, that works too, because once you see that, then maybe like, hey, maybe I should be waiting, maybe I shouldn't just be like taking this fucking marshmallow. So yeah, I don't know.
100% able to learn and adapt. What about you, Pepe?
Adopting the value of both patience and risk taking. It sounds simple, and yet to act upon it is difficult. But damn, Dow, are you good? Fuck, you slipped your elbow, buddy. Holy shit. From taking those two values in, you will learn, as Dow mentioned, to do better, to do better in your future actions. If you learn how to take a risk, my nigga, you can earn a lot of points in life, and experience a lot of good shit in life. If you learn about patience, you can avoid a lot of nonsense that comes forth with the bullshit of life. You feel me?
100%. Yeah.
Calculated risk too. Calculated risk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
calculated risk and calculated patience. You feel me? Yeah, factual.
Bro, patience is it's kind of true when they say patience is a virtue, bro. Patience can
Mm.
get you far.
Mm.
Patience, and then just like being what's the word? Consistent. Patience and consistency, I guess.
Mm.
The
Word.
tortoise always wins, bro.
If you
The
guys
hare-
don't know David Goggins, I believe he said, um, motivation and determination is two separate things. I can be motivated. I can watch a video and be motivated to go run a fucking mile. But then if it rains, I'm not going to be running, you know? But if I'm really determined, then it don't matter if it's snowing. It don't matter if it's like 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. I'm still running the mile.
Damn,
Yep.
Dow with the quotes from
Deep as
quotes, bro.
hell.
Bro, David Goggins is a
Pepe,
fuck.
come this. No. All right, fine. Goodbye.
Big man ain't trying to pop in on the pod, huh?
Wow.
Another one next
So-
episode.
All right, for sure.
That was a good ending, dog. I fuck with the quote. Motivation and determination are two separate things, y'all. Y'all take that one and put it in your pipe and smoke that shit. That's gonna do it.
That's
gonna do it.
On the shit today. Wow.
That is gonna-
Wow.
yeah, boys, I think we low-key popped off this episode. If y'all enjoyed this, we got so many more episodes coming at you. More psychology, more experiments. So stay tuned, stay posted. We post Monday every single week. This has been Foolcast, the Immigrant Fools podcast. And we're out.
My friend said me go, tries you'll be blown. You won't make.
How come I was the only nigga that was lacking and most excited for this whole topic, bro? I cannot get any fucking point across without sounding retarded.